get going and
هاتها لي يا دودو، هاتها لي يا دودو، هاتها
Welcome
لي.
everyone. I'm gonna mute all. I'm okay. Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us today for this session. Um, Today we're going to have a lot of community building together, so always feel welcome to participate however you are. And wherever you are, always feel free to unmute and speak. And if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt me. Here is the agenda. I hope Alan, can you get the agenda on the screen for today? We're gonna start with a turn to your neighbor activity. Okay. Are we ready with the agenda, Alan? We're good, Alan? I can't hear you. Uh, is it my issue, my audio, or has
I
I
think
can't
Alan
hear
might be
Alan?
muted.
no, I
Alan's
clicked the
muted.
wrong button. I couldn't figure out how to mute myself. So we have the invitation to engage already up, and I'm going to get to
Hmm.
the agenda for today. We got the agenda up.
Sure, sure. So we're gonna start with a little activity to get to know each other a little bit and build some community together. In breakout rooms, and we're gonna put you in breakout rooms. And as I said, there will be a quiet room for you to go to if you don't want to share. Just introduce yourself to your partners, say why are you here and what you expect from this session. We're gonna put you in breakout rooms for 4 minutes and a minute to come back, maybe. And
Okay.
we're gonna go together, get together afterwards, and maybe share back later. So I'm gonna pause the recording here until Alan prepares the breakout rooms, and we're gonna go from there. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your time in your room. You can feel free to share in the chat anything that stood out to you while having a conversation with your partner or partners. And I hope you got to know somebody and you enjoyed your time. So,
I'm going to
Alan,
go back to
can
the
you get the
slides.
slides? Yeah,
Yep.
thank you.
Okay. So we'll go on. We're on to the part of the agenda.
Yeah, next slide.
Turn to your neighbor. We did. Okay.
Yeah, next slide
Which,
again.
okay. One more. I'm
Yeah.
on. Okay. The Triz activity. Here we go.
No, no, the one previous, that one. The one that is
Okay.
previous. The one before that
Okay.
one. So, I was scrolling on my Facebook and I didn't know that piece of information before that March is Disability Awareness Month. And shame on me for not knowing that piece of information. But we as advocates wanna always continue advocating for the rights of disabled people, for the rights of accessibility, and disability justice as well. And we recognize what's happening in the world. And I'm sorry I forgot to do that, but as a person, I'm a totally blind person. I'm based in Cairo, Egypt. I work as the assistant program manager here for Equity Unbound. And me being an advocate is totally different from any form of other advocacy that happens in any other part of the world. And despite maybe that I have a visual disability, somebody else might have the same disability, but they require different needs. So this makes us all welcome how everybody advocates. Advocacy doesn't take a unified a unified form, and everybody is unique, and every perspective is totally new to the table. Uh, this is the text that I I put here on the slide, which says we want to take this time to educate and acknowledge and celebrate the progression we made as a country. This is from the Purdue Disability Resource Center, and they talk about what happened with the Americans with Disabilities Act. And I've chosen that text to highlight, firstly, the role of posting these info on social media, and second, to recognize how legislations like the ADA sometimes they require our attention, and they are really important to remind us that disability rights are very important. Here in Egypt, where I am based, there are similar legislations, but actually they came really afterwards. So I'm so grateful that they came, but also I wanted to recognize the history of the civil rights movement that disabled people have done in the U.S., bringing all the progression of disability and advocacy work to the shape that is currently ongoing, or that is currently active right now. Next slide, Alan, please.
Over there.
Before we go to breakout rooms, I want to pause and hear from anybody, in case there's any question or something.
And while we're doing it, I just want to say, like, I got to know Yasser a couple of years ago through Equity Unbound, and um, I started just asking him because, trying to improve my own practices and thinking about my content. Um, but it's really like I don't have an awareness really of what it's like to navigate the web or just technology through a screen reader. And I've tried some simulations, but I've always been asking him if he could possibly share that for people. Because to me, it seems like I would have a hard time getting through a single web page. But he does it fluidly. And I just was hoping he would be able to give a little bit of a taste about what that experience is like.
Thank you so much, Alan, for sharing that. That's really it's been an honor and a pleasure to have known you throughout these couple of years, and it's been really great. We just want to make sure that people do not have any questions or concerns.
Don't see any questions. Yeah.
Quick,
Shelley just noted that she had in the intro where she met a fellow colleague working on instructional design, so she made a connection in the intro room. So Martin, I think, wants to say something.
I have a quick question. I'm familiar with JAWS, so I'm
Right.
not very familiar with TRIZ, and that's all because I have had to redo course material, the entire course
Oh,
overhaul, over accessibility, teaching us in a STEM program because they're not very reader friendly at all.
yeah. Triz is the activity. It's not the name of the screen reader, but
Okay.
I've been using JAWS and NVDA for 6 years. I'm alternating between them both. I don't have a favorite, even though nowadays I use NVDA for uh, I would say licensing reasons. I don't currently have a JAWS license, which speaks about the social injustices that happen in the world. I'm not currently affiliated to an institution as an active student or something. I work with Equity Unbound, and when I was a student at the American University in Cairo, I had a JAWS license, and those licenses are so expensive to get. But I'm going to also, when I'm demonstrating the screen readers, I'm going to speak about the differences in announcements and pronunciations that may happen in several web pages and apps. Even though these are minimal, the differences are in the use, not in what you hear. So the way I would use a screen reader may differ from between the two screen readers, but the way you hear it, you wouldn't be able to differentiate whether or not this is JAWS or NVDA. But an experienced person can differentiate them because of some gestures and such, and some sounds and all that. So, I mean, the technical sense, they do not really differ in what you hear, but in the usage sense, they differ in certain ways. Thank you, Martin.
Yep, I don't think we have any questions, but
And this is really great, Martin, that you brought this up because when I thought about this session, I said, uh, okay, how can we make sure that we start this session by designing the most inaccessible, most worst design ever, and this would build on how we understand screen reader access. So instead of you thinking about what are the best accessibility practices, you think about the worst accessibility practices for screen reader use. Think about your syllabus, your LMS materials, your announcements, your instructional design, anything that is currently in your mind that you're doing to be accessible. Put that aside for now. Think about the worst procedures, the worst steps that you can take to make something inaccessible. We're gonna do this also in breakout room, and feel free to stay here if you don't want to join one, or if you want to stick around here, that's absolutely fine. And
right.
yeah, we're gonna have a chat afterwards about this when you come back. And
So just want to say,
I put the link to the slides in the chat. They are open
mhm.
for editing. Feel free to. I have some slides for rooms like room
Yes,
one and room two and room four and such. Feel free
I
to add
thought that
extra
might be.
slides.
I was just laughing because I was like, "Oh my God, what what?" That's awesome.
Okay. I can't tell if that comment is talking to
Oh,
us or someone else. I think we have someone in another conversation. Sorry about
you
that.
know
Just
the
want to say
whole
that
crew.
Sarah, you're
uh,
unmuted.
That's awesome.
here, I got it. Just want to say that that happens in Zoom. I do it myself. Just that Rebecca is really looking forward, like many of us, to what it looks like and hears like to navigate a screen reader. And Shelley's already getting into the worst. So I think she's ready. Content, she's talking about
Oh,
content heavy images, no alt text. Yeah, lots of click here. Martin says throw out Myers principles and Rebecca's advice for heading style. So we're already getting into this. Do you want to say anything else about the activity, Yasser, before we send them breaking?
just for people to think together about the most worst design ever together, and maybe if somebody wants to write on the slides, that would be great.
Yeah, and as it suggests, like think about your own learning materials, like if they were really terrible, which they're not, right? So we're gonna get up to the breakout rooms and let's see if I can manage this a little bit better this time.
Welcome back, everyone.
Okay.
So, is anyone up to share what came up in the room and in the conversation? Either in the chat or just unmuting. That would be nice.
Yeah, let's hear something horrible. Nigel, my friend Nigel. Sorry, I see Nigel Robertson. I haven't seen Nigel for a billion years. He's in there. Great to see you.
If you look at room one on the PowerPoints, I said we've put in a few
Okay,
areas.
thank you. Let me get to the. Thank you for reminding that we have. Let's
So
see.
slide 8.
Let's see. Oh, I wonder if I.
Oh.
I wonder if I have the wrong slide deck here, but let me. Someone start talking while I try to bring up the chat. Make sure I have the right Google Doc open.
I love what
Spike,
Brittany said here about using images for emphasis.
I got it now. Room one, yeah. Um, paper handouts, lecture writing on the board, not being aware, students, no video captions, no alt text, scan images at PDF Ooh, that's a big one. Non-descriptive links and practical courses not specialized. Okay. I'm seeing if they have, room three. We have lots of content heavy images and infographics, no alt text, no heading styles, lots of links. They're all labeled click here, videos
I like that.
uncaptioned. Yeah. Tables without row and column heading. That's a good one that people probably overlook. Color only
I
used for
like
meeting
that.
and yeah, audio files without transcripts or captioning and non-descriptive file names like especially like the way Google names their files is horrible.
I like that.
Room four. We still have some things coming. Style. Do you want me to read these, Yasser? Do
Sorry?
you want me to read these as they're coming in?
Sure.
Yeah. Room four, stylistic fonts that are not inaccessible. I'm curious to hear more
Yeah.
about that because, yeah, I don't know about that. Of course, the
Yeah.
headings, manual headings, the images. This is good one. Retrofitting accessibility after the fact versus designing it from the beginning. Not knowing who your students will be and what accommodations that it might need, and the content image order for PowerPoint, and of course the look here and click here references.
Yeah. I like what Harper said in the chat about the fonts as well.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Amanda in the chat as well.
Yeah, we have emojis, of course. Vivian says there's no budget. She got a parking ticket
Budget
because
for
she's using a
disability
walker.
support. Yeah. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry about that. Yeah.
yeah. The syllabus completely in PDF from Martin. Full text content, lots of live links. The assessment's buried in a slide and tabular content.
Oh yeah.
Um,
About the syllabus in PDF though, sometimes it can be accessible if the PDF is tagged well and is tagged correctly and properly. There are some criteria for PDFs to be made fully accessible, but um, many people do not really know how to do them properly. So sometimes we say, okay, go ahead and do them in Word documents because it's much easier and it's much more, it's actually smooth to have a Word doc.
hmm. Yeah, because the
Yeah.
PDF may look nice, but like internally, the structure is generally very messy.
We were actually discussing also with it that a PDF could have been scanned multiple times. So even if you do have one, it's even for anyone who is not visually impaired, it can be difficult to.
Good point. Good point. I was trying to help my wife with one. It was one of those PDFs where like it was done on a photocopier and they're all like tilted and you have partial pages. Definitely Rebecca noting that it depends how the PDF is generated.
Yeah, like
Um,
in Word, you can print to PDF or you can save as PDF. And if you save as PDF, you can actually save an accessible version. But if you
Yeah.
print to PDF, it you lose all of the context. So
right.
you've got to make sure you're generating it using the correct generator.
Yeah. And
There
we
is
have a
also
good
a comment. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just to say, and I'm a student, and I just got a PDF sent to me that was a photocopy of a textbook
yeah.
of a book that
Yeah.
just came out, and I'm like, okay. So I just sent you reminded me, so I sent the instructor an email telling them that if they wanted an accessible version, they could get it from me because I ended up
Hmm.
buying the book so that I could do because I use screen readers for that, or not screen, yeah, I use text to voice. So yeah,
I got what is worse than this. I got a Word document full of images. So somebody that I told, can you please do like give me a Word doc? They just went, they photocopied the book, took all the images, pasted them in a Word doc, and said, "Hey, this is a Word document." So that was really funny.
It's like, yeah, you say Word is so good, right?
Yeah. So thank
Oh,
you everybody for sharing that. Keep your insights coming along. we're going to be reading them all. I'm going to be also saving the chat and maybe emailing it and removing any identifiable information or something like that.
Mhm.
And now I'm going to share my sound and show you some ways that I navigate things on my computer. And I'm going to also maybe try to get my phone as well and show you how the phone screen reader versus the computer are different. Um, so I'm going to share my audio and
I have to say, I'm excited to hear this.
so I'm sharing my audio. Yeah, computer.
Zoom meeting window. You have started computer audio share.
Right. Is it can you
Yeah,
hear it?
yeah. He's very fast.
Six
Is
press
that
arrow.
normal?
Reply blank.
No, it's
Zoom meeting
fine.
window.
So I'm going to reduce the
Collapse.
rate to
Meeting chat.
confirm if that is okay with you.
Variant premium voice Samantha dash
'Cause
English variant premium rate 40 pitch 33 rate 40 rate 20 rate 15 rate 10 rate
Oh my
20.
gosh.
is this good?
Yeah, that was good. 20 sounds good.
20 sounds good. Okay. So the way Zoom is used, Zoom is the is an app. I use it. I first of all, all screen readers on computer are used only with the keyboard. We don't use any touch bar, any mouse cursor or something like that. We don't use any of that. Even though nowadays, for some advanced laptops, they're starting to develop scripts for touch gestures on laptops. My laptop is not really one of those advanced devices, so I don't have like those touch gestures. I don't even know how to use them. Um, so I use a Windows operating system and I use Zoom on that device here. Uh, the way I navigate Zoom is by using mostly the tab key on the computer
Hmm.
and the shift tab to go back and forth. So
Designing with not a change screen.
this is for
Oh,
changing
we,
the layout
yeah.
of the screen.
Tab
Excuse me, we do have
control.
a question. Uh,
Go ahead.
Annie's asking, is there a way for a visually impaired person to experience emojis or the chat in Zoom?
Absolutely. We're gonna get to that. And emojis are people can hear emojis. So let's try that.
Meeting chat.
So this is the chat of the Zoom. So if I wanna
Winking face with cat face laptop. Speaking head 1 of 61 level 2. Speaking head 1 of 41. Here notes heart suit 1 of 25 level 2. Heart with arrow 2 of 25 level 2. Sparkling heart 3 of 25 level 2.
this is how emojis are pronounced.
Oh my
A
gosh.
tip,
Emoji panel.
if they are
Collapse.
overly used, they're very overwhelming. They're so disappointing. If you, and I'm going to show a video later about that. But using emojis is just absolutely fine.
Designing with
So
change screen tab meeting
here I
secure.
use a tab and a shift tab, and that's absolutely fine with Zoom. If we go to the slide deck that we have here, I have it in an HTML mode, which helps me navigate it smoothly.
Final underscore under Adobe
So
Zoom Adobe final underscore
I'm
heading level
going
1
to do the heading level
heading
1,
level 1 1 of 25. Designing with not around disabled
and I'm using the arrows right now.
facilitated by Yasser
Here are my
Yasser
emails,
dot take a guide smart oval
and here is how the alternative text is pronounced.
smartphone
This is supposedly one of the I had a friend help me with the slides to make it just prettier and all that. So he put one of the decorative images, and I've insisted not to know what is it until today, so I can experience it with you guys.
a
So
guy
here,
smartphone a guy sitting at a desk in a classroom wearing a dark purple long dash sleeved shirt and his short dark hair. He is focused on a laptop with both hands on the keyboard. He has white wired earphones in his ears connected to the laptop and his smartphone lying on the desk in front of him. Next to the laptop is a tall, metallic purple water bottle. The background shows empty gray desks and blue office chairs on a carpeted floor.
this is how the alternative text is there. If and when there is no alternative text, the screen reader is going to say unlabeled graphic. And we're gonna see how
Hmm.
this sounds. And this is absolutely not good So sometimes I wonder, what is this? And imagine that if you have a photo of, for example, a textbook that has information about a concept and there is no
From
alternative
Vivian Chin
text.
to everyone
It's
colon.
always overwhelming.
Oval. Oval. Heading level 1. Oval. Oval. Smart. Oval. Oval. Head community agreements.
Here is the same slides. Because it's an HTML mode, it's a web page like any other web page, and if I go to any other web page, it would sound similar. If I go,
Net tab.
for example, to the BBC websites, which I consider one of the most accessible websites, when we speak of criteria, like the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, it's it's uh, it's very easy to navigate. So I'm gonna hit
BBC.
BBC.
Dot. Dot.
Let's
O. Co.
go. Here we
UK.
go.
UK. BBC.co.uk selected. Subscribe at Dear Daughter. Same page collapsed open menu.
This is a collapsible menu. This helps with navigation, so I won't have all the links spread out over the page everywhere. Very overwhelming, but if I want something, I will
Search. Search.
hit space and it opened the space bar,
List with 13 items. Live.
and there is a live link,
Video.
video,
Audio. Earth.
audio, Earth,
Travel.
travel,
Arts.
everything in links. And if I want to search that, I'm gonna hit with E. So just so you all know, the screen reader moves through something called quick navigations. And what that means is that every element on the page is identifiable through a character. A heading, I navigate it with H. An edit box,
Hmm.
like one of the boxes that you use to write anything in, is an edit box. One of the menus are like, so it depends on a drop-down menu or what we call combo boxes. It's for a C. So if I
Article.
wanna,
Search news. Topics and more.
I hit E and it went to the search bar. And if I wanna do that, I will do that. If I wanna click on a button, I will click B
Search.
and it's at search. So after I finish writing, I can click on that and it displays the search results.
Home. Same page.
This is the home button.
Wow.
News.
News,
Sport.
same navigation with like the with different layouts, so it makes life easier for those who have visual impairment to navigate the web pages in an accessible way.
Business.
And
Can I ask,
go ahead.
Yes, sir, can I ask a question? How about ads and web pages? What happens when does it ignore them?
This is a good question. If the ad appears in a pop-up setting, it's very annoying. It's very disturbing. We
Hmm.
always when if I'm doing something on a web page and suddenly there is a pop-up, it blocks everything but the pop-up. So I'm not seeing anything on but the ad, and it's so annoying, and I have to look where the close ad button
Yeah.
is, so I can hide it. Sometimes even the
Yeah.
close ad button is not there, so I have to close the tab completely and reopen it so I can move around
Wow.
this hassle. Um, Unfortunately, most of the also what like since we spoke about pop-ups, the the websites and it happens in the banking systems that they give you a time to navigate the web page and then it logs out. So automatic log out is also not helpful in that sense. And you can just be slow because some blind people actually have sensitivity from hearing like fast screen reader voices.
Hmm.
And when they use a slow rate like the 20 rate that I'm using right now and the system logs them out, it's difficult because they have to log themselves back in to perform like a financial transaction or something like that. Um, I yeah.
Question from Nigel. Can you talk
Go ahead.
about links and preferences to open in the same window, new window, or pop up? Like,
Definitely not pop-up. Same window, different window. It doesn't matter to me personally, even though in the NVDA screen reader and JAWS too, so JAWS will say same things. And that's why I'm mentioning JAWS here in that sense. Um, we you can I if I think Google Chrome as a browser has this feature to open in another new window or new tab versus same window or same tab, and it doesn't really matter
Mhm.
how like I open that. In my NVDA setup, I have an add-on developed by one of the blind programmers that lets me choose that. And it's available for everybody on the NVDA like add-on store.
Same page.
So let's say I
Mm.
want to open this link,
British Broadcasting Corporation graphics. Same page. Register.
like the register link.
Not a link.
Oh,
Not a link.
weird.
Sign in. Not a link. Not a link.
So weird because these are links and the add-on. Maybe that's a bug from the add-on, but
List with 13 items. Home. Same page. News. List. Open link in split view 2 of 9. Open link in new tab 1 of 9.
yeah, here it is. Open link in new tab,
Inspect 9 of 9. Open link in new window 3 of 9.
open link in your window,
Open link in incognito window 4 of 9.
even open it in an incognito, like or a private
Wow.
browsing. That's helpful sometimes because sometimes I want to have something open in another window while I'm doing something. Like what I'm currently doing right now with my own slides. I have the slide in a tab and I have this
Mm.
BBC website in another tab and I'm navigating both with a shortcut of an Alt plus tab.
Wow.
Uh so I can move through
BBC Home.
all the windows. Any
Can I
questions,
you
Al?
Oh, I just want to make you're looking at the main BBC page right now. I just want to
Right, yeah.
if yeah, I'm putting the link in the chat so people can know
Yeah,
what you have it.
bbc.co.uk. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, I got BBC.com. Is that the same?
Mm, I don't know.
No,
Uh,
I'll let me get the right one.
so this is how the web is concerned,
Oh.
and if there is like I couldn't find something that I could show that is completely inaccessible. Uh, as I said, I'm currently not affiliated to an institution, so I had something in mind, but it required access. But if something is not accessible, it will say unlabeled or
Mm.
graphic with no description. Like it will say unlabeled graphic, an image description is not there. Something like that. It will say something like that, and it will not be really visible where things are. Sometimes
We have
the thing.
we
Go
have a
ahead.
few we have a few questions. Do you want to take them or you
Yeah,
want
I'm
to?
gonna say one small thing,
Yep.
and yeah, we can have questions. Sometimes we have things that are labeled, but they're not clickable. And honestly, I'm not into programming, so I don't know the technicality behind that. But whenever I press enter on them or like a space bar, they do not really do anything. And that's something that is really something that is up to the system, the way things are designed. So that's why we say, and I titled that session Designing With. So designing with means consulting disabled people in the design, seeing if things work or they do not work. Getting the feedback from the user is what is of utmost importance. Go ahead, Alan.
Same
Mm.
page.
Yes. Harper's asking, is the
Go
open in
ahead.
same is open in the same window or open in new window related how you're choosing to open it, like the settings that you do, or is it really what the web page defines? Um, it sounds like your add-on can override whatever the web page is set to do, right?
My add-ons can definitely override things. That's why an MVDA screen reader is an open source screen reader, which allows people to develop further features for it. Unlike JAWS, where it's difficult to actually have access to the code, the source code for the program.
Mm.
Um, if people have gone the extra mile by designing the choice into their web pages. This is really great, and it's a triple A requirement in the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. A triple A requirement means that something is fully accessible and it's really compliant. I would say, and I'm not really sure about these statistics, but many websites are not triple A because it's really expensive to reach that level of requirement. We always sometimes like we want to reach double A requirement, which is great. Double A also, does a good job with accessibility.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So this
And
is go ahead.
no, finish up.
Go ahead. No, I
List
was
with
actually
Oh,
going to move to another thing. So go ahead.
just that Edward's asking how long did it take you to sort of get that skilled in the screen reader? And Does it and does it when heightening your hearing lead to overstimulus of other senses such as hearing? Um, and then asking whether there's funding available for accessibility software.
A lot of nice. So, I would answer, yeah, it took me a while. I didn't teach myself. I had to go and get some training from organizations here in Cairo. Though things are great with regard to training, we have a lot
From
of
Harper
people
Friedman to everyone
who
calling.
are really great with training. It still takes time to teach people how to use digital literacy and how to be well educated about the digital tools because access to devices is not that easy. I've learned screen reader access 6 years ago. I was an adult already. I was over 18 at that time. Prior to that time, I didn't have access to those devices, and I didn't have access to the training. I would say that is due to poor schooling. I also have not been taught math and science in my school because we were excluded from those subjects, but that's another whole level of a topic. Uh, I would say there is no set time for learning screen reader access because everybody is different. Like we are all different, and it just requires training, and it requires somebody to be also invested in what they want to use. With regard to using hearing and such, some people tell that blind people can use their hearing better than others, even though I would not feel that myself, but some people always tell that. Of course, I use my hearing. I depend a lot on my hearing because this is what I have. If at this moment my screen reader goes blank, I will not know what is going on and I will not know how to
Hmm.
troubleshoot, which is great because we have an app like Be My Eyes that I can connect to a volunteer 24/7 from the comfort of my home and show them that my screen and they can guide me on what to do. Sometimes the volunteer is a normal person like you and I, and sometimes they have the Microsoft Disability Answer Help Desk, which is great. That's why I'm sticking to a screen reader like JAWS and NVDA and not like an Apple device for that purpose. Even though I like Apple devices on what like on phones, and I'm gonna speak about that later.
Hmm. Okay. Do you want more chat comments or
Yeah, go ahead.
it's really
That's
good.
the priority,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Vivian noted that Chat GPT can read a PDF effortlessly as long as it's a clean PDF. Does that resonate with you? Is Chat GPT good at reading
Until
PDF?
now, I'm not. Until now, I have to express that I'm disappointed in AI and OCR. It's not really.
Hmm.
It didn't reach a level where I can definitely depend on it 100%. I
Hmm.
use OCR systems that are specialized to do OCR, like optical character recognitions.
Hmm.
Uh, Personally, I use Kurzweil version 14, Kurzweil 1000 version 14, and it's great. Kurzweil, Kurzweil version 14, 1000.
Hmm.
It's an environment that you set up on your computer to do OCR. Some people, yes, depend on AI. Even I personally don't like it. It's not really efficient. With me, it might be efficient for others. And just by the way, what I'm speaking about right now in this session is totally my own opinion. It's not really something that is transferable to others, and something I'm not generalizing that all blind people would prefer what I prefer. Um, Also,
That's
80 like
9 colon 30 p.
90% of the screen, like the OCR apps do not really handle Arabic, and that's
hmm.
what is negative about
From
about
Vivian
that
Chin
about
to
that.
everyone colon. Replying to quotation mark apparently.
Any other chat, Anna?
Annie's asking, how does the native Microsoft Reader compare to NVIDIA?
Uh, like the narrator, it's very basic. narrator on Windows.
Mm,
It's very basic. It doesn't really perform well. Even NVDA is not really advanced with a lot of things. Like, for example, NVDA and Excel is not really good. Microsoft Excel. We would really normally revert to JAWS when doing something on Excel, especially when it comes to financial equations or something like that, or mathematical equations. And that's why I said I'm alternating between screen readers.
mm. And Suzanne noticed that she volunteers with Be My Eyes, which is a
Cool.
fantastic organization. I don't know if you want to say anything about your experience, Suzanne, but
Feel free,
you
yeah.
really,
Yeah, it's just been very interesting. I've helped people with many different items. Someone's dog had vomited on the floor carpet and they needed to find it to
Yeah,
clean it up, helping people open their mail, helping people on a website that wasn't accessible,
cool.
picking out what clothes to wear. So quite a range of things. And
100%
I
code.
found it to be really, yeah. So thanks for mentioning it. It's a great organization.
oh yeah,
Cool.
thanks for bringing it up. And
Um,
Mindy's, one
go
more.
ahead.
Mindy's wondering about multitasking and the demands to do tasks simultaneously in classes and workshops. So if you're a student in a workshop like this and you're told to navigate away to a tab, do an activity, and then there's instructions or someone speaking, like how does your screen reader manage going from the document to Zoom,
I
and
have
picking up?
more. I have different tabs open and I navigate them, as I said, by pressing like on the Alt plus tab command, and it's easy, even though sometimes it might be overwhelming for people. Um, I often make sure and strive to open different tabs that are not titled the same, and it doesn't happen where something is titled the same, like having the same title. So, for example, I'm here on the slides and I can press Alt
Zoom
tab.
meeting security.
I'm on the Zoom tab. I can go and I can do something there. The shortcuts are couple like the commands are keystrokes or a couple of two, three keys that I press to make some function. So Alt plus H,
Press
for
Alt to
example, would navigate me to the chat.
hide meeting controls alert. Press Alt to show or hide meeting controls alert. Message everyone heart focused. Meeting chat.
Uh, Here, notice what it said something completely off point. It said, I don't know what it said, like hide meeting controls, something that is not really making sense in here. And that's also the experience of using a screen reader, that you have to also double check what is being said and against what is actually happening. It said hide meeting controls, and I haven't really done something that had to do with hide meeting controls. I wanted to get the chat link
TR
here,
deleted.
and I yeah, basically that
Do you
that
ever
that
do you ever
skill comes with time. Sorry, go ahead.
do you ever get tired of her voice?
A lot. I cannot read. For example, I'm somebody who is an avid reader, and I've completed a lot of writing. I write a lot. I read a lot. I wouldn't read the same amount of reading that people can read normally with their eyes, because I just feel the migraine and headache because of the overwhelming sound of voice. We are hoping that uh now like that AI would create voices that are better and much more. I wouldn't say human because I don't want to be anthropomorphic, but I would say we want to hear AI. We want to have AI that creates voices that are much more effective and efficient.
And Martin's asking, do you have other voice options in the app that you're using?
Yes, I do. Let's try something in here.
Pitch the rate 20. Variant premium voice Samantha dash.
Voice Tom dash English left paren United States.
Voice
I
man.
recognize that one.
Voice maga dash Arabic.
That's my Arabic voices.
Voice Tarek dash
Okay.
Arabic.
Also an Arabic
Voice
voice.
Daniel dash English left paren United Kingdom right paren.
Mm.
That's another voice that I use. I use this on my phone, the British one on my phone, but I don't use it on computer because it's not really as pure as in the phone, because this is an purely an Apple voice.
Voice Malcolm dash English left paren United Kingdom right paren.
I never heard this one. Maybe they updated something. And
Voice
Nigel,
Angel.
we need a New Zealand voice. Can you do that?
I think.
Voice
Serena dash English left parent United Kingdom right
I can
parent.
do I can do a Scottish voice. I can't do a New Zealand voice.
Oh, we have a
I,
French.
those British voices are very
Voice
usually
Ava dash Voice Ava
um,
dash English left parent United States. Voice Samantha dash.
Yeah, that's my favorite one. I've gotten used to it, and I feel like what that's the least overwhelming voice that I can unfortunately endure. Yeah, so
I was teasing my friend Nigel, and he offered a Scottish voice because he's got a great voice.
yeah. I would wanna also talk about forms. And
Yeah.
sometimes like the typical Google form is accessible and like unless you make something that is completely off point. If you put like a question title and a question description, that would be good. And it will be pronounced. I will open here
Final underscore new tab.
my direct university directory.
Dire Gmail search for images. Dire.auc Egypt heading level 1. This site can't be reached.
Oops.
Tool
Hey.
dir.auc dear.auc faculty slash splang
Wow.
So
unlabeled unlabeled graphic to get missing image descriptions. Open the context menu.
did you hear this?
Yeah.
That's
I'm like I'm ready to throw up.
that's that's absolutely something. And I'm clicking on the E button. Remember when I said E for boxes? It doesn't say anything because the boxes are not labeled well.
Unlabeled last name. Checked title.
It says those because those descriptions are put in the wrong position. So since I have tried them all, I know where things are by training, but they are not really, if you're visiting them for the first time, overwhelming.
Unlabeled. No next edit field.
Nothing
Hmm.
is really put in the correct order. So in forms and surveys, especially if you're coding your own survey, it's not a Google form, make sure to put the label on the box itself, so it's announced correctly by the screen reader.
Hmm.
Final under.
Here's my Adobe
Adobe
Acrobat Reader, and we're gonna try something like a surprise.
Open dialog. 1 PDF.
Yeah.
Chapter 1 PDF. Open dialog. Desktop 1 PDF dash Adobe Acrobat preparing document for reading dialog. 12%, 15%, 25%, 37%, 50%, 62%, 75%,
Come
87%,
on. Come on.
100%. 1 PDF dash Adobe Acrobat Reader left paren 64 dash bit right per text frame focused.
It doesn't say anything. I'm navigating it. It doesn't say
Walk
anything.
through Google PC. HT close.
Imagine that I said I
Close.
waited for some time and the PDF is not readable. Why? Because
Uh,
it's scanned and it's poorly scanned. It's not well
Adobe View
scanned.
enable extension.
And it says something completely weird. I don't know what extension they want to enable. So
AV1 PD. This document appears to be empty. It may be a scanned image that needs OCR or it may be a malformed document.
definitely
hmm.
not a malformed, but a poor scan.
Final under.
So a question, yes.
Go ahead.
If I'm creating PDFs and I think I'm doing them structurally well, how can I know, like, is there a test that I can do for
Uh,
the structure of my PDF?
um, they say do the correct tagging by using a font that is
Hmm.
accessible. I'm not 100% well aware of the PDF guidelines. They have come. I think they've created new PDF guidelines, something called Grackle Docs, but I haven't
Hmm.
really studied them, so I'm not an expert, 100% expert on how to test PDFs. I can tell you if a PDF is accessible or not, but I cannot guide you on how to make them accessible 100% because you have to take into consideration color contrast and all that. Uh, because also it does matter for those who have visual impairment, not just total blindness. Uh, we always say Word docs are the best.
Okay.
Any question
How
in
how,
the
are, how
chat?
how How
This
are
is 1:40
Google
p.m.
documents, or is it best to export Google to Word format?
Well, Google Docs have become have has just become accessible. It used to be very awful, overwhelming.
Hmm.
It has become accessible with the right settings that are set up, like Braille support, and screen reader mode. If those are enabled, definitely they will be much better. NVDA also has an add-on for Google Docs, and it also works pretty well. And what is and I think this is a good time for me also to mention something here, that every year when there is a new release of NVDA, we're always worried about those add-ons not being updated because they are created by people like us who are blind. Those people have like work and life balance, and we don't know if people are going to come back to those again and update them. So it's also your work is dependent on other things. And if you're using JAWS, which is the screen reader and which does the same support by Braille support and such, every year you have to buy a license for over $1,500 US dollars. It's expensive. It's not really available, and it's not really also affordable to a lot of people.
Mhm. Annie's asking if the Adobe PDF accessibility checker is trustworthy.
No, it's not. Unfortunately, neither Adobe Accessibility Checker is fully trustworthy. You can depend on it basically for your own basic use. And yeah, and also PowerPoint Accessibility Checker isn't the best. You can also have it as your own guide, but not 100% as a guide, you know? Like get
Mm,
some information, double check it.
Music.
mm,
I'm glad you say that because my team had originally were like, "Oh, we're gonna go make our stuff accessible. Let's use the accessibility checker." And we ran some stuff and we're like, "Oh, great, that's accessible." And I went to check an alt text on some things and uh, it had completely passed a bunch of documents that had no alt text in them, or they had auto generate, computer generated text
mm,
in them that
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
horrendous, you know. So, yeah, I was really horrified because we thought, oh, we're fine. And then I noticed that it had passed a whole bunch of stuff that had, no or terrible alt text. So, is that kind of something that happens with other accessibility checkers too? I mean, I noticed the word checker kind of was not great about that either. You just basically had to manually check all of our alt text to make sure that they had actual real
mm.
alt text put in there.
Until this
Thank you.
moment, there is no such accessibility checker that is trustworthy. Until this moment, there are people who get paid to be accessibility testers. When accessibility testers stay at home finding no job, then we will have a trustworthy accessibility checker. But until today, thank God, accessibility testers are still getting paid. They're still getting certified, and their word of mouth is still the most credible one.
Downloads music file. Contains
Uh,
music.
Just letting you know, yeah, Yasser, that someone you may not know her, Maha
Mahabali.
Bali came in.
uh,
She came in late, but
no
she had
worries.
another thing that's always busy, but she's just reminding us about more Equity Unbound activities.
Cool.
And Alan
Uh,
said you've been doing great, and I told him I've been learning from you for years now, so I'm so glad you're sharing with
uh,
other people.
I've been learning from you for forever, so it's been a great privilege to just share the learning with the community.
Yeah.
Uh, Alan,
We
do
have
you have
about
the video
15,
ready? Yeah.
yeah,
Do
we
you
have
have the
about
video
15
ready?
minutes left. Yeah, I can share the video.
That's the last thing that we would end with the demo, and yeah.
Okay. So let's see. I'm going to play this. Oh, hang on. I just want to make sure that I
Thank you for
one more
disabling my computer share.
Zoom did it. I'm just going to make sure share sound. There we go. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to play this video.
This clapping hands is clapping hands. What clapping hands? Screen clapping hands. Reader clapping hands. Users clapping hands. Here clapping hands. When clapping hands. You clapping hands. Overuse clapping hands. Emojis clapping hands.
Oh
This
boy.
is this is the struggle.
So don't be cute with the emojis, is that it?
Don't overuse them and don't use them after every word. They are fine. They make our lives prettier and more, hopeful and optimistic and such. But when they're overused, they're completely like a chaos. And uh, since we said this, also the hashtags try to use the capital letter after each word so screen readers can do them correctly.
Can I
And
ask? Oh,
go
can I ask
ahead.
what's the difference? What's the difference in a screen reader when the hashtag is not capitalized for multiple words?
It will say something completely awkward.
Okay. Okay.
Um, yeah, so these are some of the top inaccessibilities that we wanted to I wanted to pass on here. The video is just by the way from a voiceover screen reader that is like built in and on the Apple devices. And what is different between both, and let me try and hopefully my computer would capture that. I'm gonna try to raise my volume to the high. I hope it's loud enough.
Yeah,
It's
we can
loud.
hear
9:47 p.m.
it.
The difference between that is that I don't use a keyboard with phone. I swipe with my fingers
Screen
in
lock.
different ways and in different gestures. So if I swipe right and left, that means that I'm scrolling through everything. So
Gmail. All new Instapay. Files. WhatsApp. One UI. Zoom.
that I'm exploring the screen definitely. If I'm doing up
Wow.
and down,
Edit mode.
that's to just organize my home screen.
Activate. Default.
The default activate. So if I want to open it, for example, if I want to,
Email. All new items.
I
Wow.
hit double tap on that. So one time
Gmail.
lets me hear
Navigation.
something, the other time lets me activate it or like open it.
Me. Ellen. Set. Unread. Mujtaba. Steve.
That's something like an email. I can press
Selected. Mail. Tab. 1 of 3.
swipe,
Chat. Tab. 2 of 3.
double tap,
Open
chat,
navigation menu. Button.
double tap.
Wow.
Set scheduled. Drop all mail. Button. Trash. Button. Manage subscriptions. Button.
That's an original voice. The reason why I'm using this voice that is different from my computer one is that this is an original voice. This is built in on the device, so it's pure enough for me to hear, and it's also built in on the device rather than being set up through an add-on or something as in the computer.
Google
Can
Maps.
you talk
Speech off.
can you talk a little bit, Yasser, about navigating social media? Like,
Definitely, it goes the same way, scrolling and navigating. As I said, the overuse of emojis and the hashtags. The alternative text is important. Uh,
okay.
Sorry, I got lost within the chat.
That's okay. I'm going to ask Nigel had a question about your experience or suggestions about socializing accessibility. Besides the ability to make documents and websites accessible, a big barrier is getting people to actually do that.
Oh, definitely. I'm gonna let me continue as like the social media point, and I'm gonna go to that. So, overusing the emojis, overusing like the hashtags, doing alternative text is important, but when it's overly detailed, it's also overwhelming and it's also confusing. If there is something that is like a table in an image, you better summarize it in the alternative text and put a document that would have the longer description. So the alternative text wouldn't be confusing. If you have a
Mm.
chart that is full of data, you would rather summarize the chart in the alternative text briefly and include the data in another separate document, or in case of social media, use the comment section. Many people are now starting to ask for links to be placed in the comment section of social media posts instead of being in the original post because
Mm.
phones do not have hyperlinks and they keep saying HTTP things. So if you put one link at a time in your comments of social media, it helps you gain reach on your posts, and it helps me as a visually impaired user to navigate it comment by comment and know what is being there. This is something that I learned from somebody that I know, um, like an advocate who's a social media communication specialist. About the other point, Nigel, can you read again what Nigel said? And please.
Sure, sure thing. Unless Nigel, you want to speak your question?
Sure. Corey, Yasser. It was really, you've talked a lot about tools and how there are things there that we can do to make things accessible. But I think, I find one of the barriers is engaging with people to actually get them to add alt text to images, to use headings. And I don't know whether if you've got any experience of moving people to a point of understanding why accessibility is important and actually getting them to engage with that. The people here, I think, are already engaged, but it's if we're working in an institution, how do we move the mass of people towards just being accessible as the default.
I hear you on that. Unfortunately, it's not as easy as one would think. It's difficult to we keep advocating and we leave the rest to people's good intentions and goodwill, because we like disabled people will keep asking for their rights and we keep encouraging people to say, I want this accessible, I want that accessible. And this is the motive. We cannot really say something extra other than also being legislative and policy related, because again, human rights legislations like the Conventions of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities also requires us to be accessible. The ADA requires us to be accessible. The UK Equality Act 2010 requires us to be accessible. The Egyptian law of 2018 requires us to be accessible. All of those require us to be accessible, and we, other than advocating, it's still a human rights and a legal rights. But also what comes along with this is access fatigue. And I was going to speak about this, where I have had a lot of concepts and a lot of slides, but the demo was much more important. Didn't want to rush through the demo and miss your questions because they were really great. So access fatigue is like when we keep advocating, it comes with a burden for us as disabled people that we keep asking. That's why when different people advocate, it doesn't put the pressure on one person to advocate. If I'm the only blind person in the institution advocating, then I would feel I'm sometimes burned out and I would feel, oh, I'm not really able to continue the work that I'm doing. But as we navigate this world, there are a lot of advocates, there are a lot of people with different views and different opinions. That's why in the beginning of the session I said all the views and opinions here are expressed here are my own, and the preferences are my own. Many people might come and do the session tomorrow with completely different perspective, which is fine and which is welcome and which is motivating because that will keep me engaged to also search more and be more attentive to what other people are doing.
I might say I would like to see like maybe within an organizational unit or to say like have everybody do their work through a screen reader for an hour on some regular
Wow.
basis. I mean, I think a lot of us are just overwhelmed to have to hear the sounds coming in through Yasser's speaker on just going through ordinary tasks that we take for granted.
Yeah, I would also highlight, and as I would say it, we all hold different powers within our institutions. Uh, Unfortunately, sometimes the scope of influence that we have and the scope of control that we also have are totally tight, but we want to focus on the micro level, like what we can we do versus what can the institution do, and advocate. That's what we can do. And accessibility and unfortunately reasonable accommodations have their negativity, unfortunately, because it requires me to disclose information about my medical needs, and it requires me to also engage in concepts that are sometimes I don't want to disclose my information to people. And
Hmm.
if I don't disclose my information to people, I'm not getting reasonable accommodation. So is the solution that we can say today is the solution to have reasonable accommodation, or can we make accessibility a priority by having it framed as an ecosystem, like an interaction between all the human and non-human environments, like our digital tools, our institutions, our departments. This is what currently I'm trying to explore and read about and maybe research in the future. Uh, I want to use the last 5 minutes that we have and maybe Alan, if you can get to the last couple of slides, the slide before the last. I want to have people reflect in the chat or maybe out loud. What is the one small thing that you can start changing right now in your practice, be it in your teaching, in your administration, in the way you interact with your students, in the way that after this session, something has evoked a change within you. And yeah, that would be great to hear. I'm happy to hear. And I'm happy also to stick, as I said, for 10 more minutes if somebody wants to have an informal chat.
Yes. Hang on with me while I navigate my share screens. I'm terrible at this. Let's see, which tab is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. And the agenda, we'll get to the last slides.
The one before the last, yeah.
The checkout, right?
Yeah.
Yep, we got it. Okay. Your checkout small thing. What small change are you going to make in your practice, everybody?
Alan, can you help if there's something in the chat that you can read?
Yeah. There was a question from Lauren about the emojis.
Yeah.
Are you suggesting that they're included only at the end of the sentence? Because they do use them in learning materials for help with tone and emphasis, but they're aware of some risk with overuse. So is it better like to have the emoji at the end of a sentence? Or
I would say yes, personally, as a personal preference. I haven't really come across a set rule for that. I would say if they are towards the end of a paragraph or a sentence, that would be great. If there is one or two used in the middle of a sentence, they wouldn't harm as much because they're just one or two. I would listen to them happily, but they're not
Mhm.
definitely an overused would not be recommended.
Yeah, and Harper's going to do more practice with the voiceover on a Mac, which I've used before. So he's going to just get some more experience and to do more thorough checking. I have to say, BC Campus does an exceptional job with the accessibility on their OERs. Jennifer is building resources on accessibility, so she says it was useful to hear how screen readers actually work and how you experience it. I will applaud that.
Thank you.
Martin's going to continue to advocate and personally review his learning materials and address accessibility at the beginning of each course. Nigel's trying to move people away from seeing it as an accommodation for an individual, but a position, something that we should do for everyone. Um, Suzanne said she really Appreciate the reminder of access fatigue and that she'll continue to advocate for accessibility. Dahlia is going to make her canvas more accessible.
Great.
Vivian just made a slideshow about screen readers, and I found the bit about disclosing disability to be extremely helpful. I feel like it's a double-edged sword because when we disclosed invisible disabilities, we might be treated differently rather than offered useful accommodations from her own experience.
Thank you so much. So
And
we are on top of the hour. I'm happy to stick.
yep,
I don't want to also keep people. So to just respect your time and your effort to have just come here is really great. Thank you for joining us. I'm happy to stick and
yep, I'll
yeah.
stop the recording.